Should you quit writing that manuscript if it is not working for you, or should you push through and just fix it later? Now, this is going to be entirely subjective based on you and your skills and your ability to research the market. So if you're writing a book and it's not going well for you, you have to take a couple of things into consideration. But before we do that, it is important to know it is okay to stop. If something is not working for you, it's okay to not do it. If something is not working for you, it's okay to put it on a shelf and come back a year later, 10 years later, 20 years later. You do not have to do it just because you start, even if you've invested a lot of time into it. Now let's go back. You have to make sure that as an author, as a writer, you are taking into consideration the market, the ability to sell the book that you are writing, and your ability to get that work done. Because if you don't have a manuscript, you have ended your career. So if you are pushing towards something but you can't ever get there, you don't have a book to sell, be it indie or traditional. You do not have a book. You do not have the ability to make money. You do not have a career. So you have to be able to make some hard choices. Sometimes people get so fixated on what they're writing that they will spend years, 5 years, 10 years, writing a book that they never finish. Or it takes an incredibly long time to finish. If you were spending more than a year is a really long time to write a book. If you're spending more than a year, that's not a good, healthy project for you to be working on right now. Put that on the shelf and write something else, something that's going to be able to move forward at a faster pace so that you can get into the industry and come back to the other one. Sometimes we're just not in the right mindset. Sometimes we don't have the life experience. Sometimes we don't have all of the things we need in place to write that novel, and that's okay. Just because you have a brilliant idea doesn't mean now is the time. In fact, I wrote a whole bunch of books when I started my career, before I started my career, like 2 years before I became published. And I've let a lot of those books, literally completed books, just sit there for the appropriate time. I just redid one of them for a really big, cool thing I can't tell you about yet, but guys, I just celebrated my 7th author anniversary. That means that manuscript was written 9 years ago. And I just left it on the shelf. It was completed. I had some work to do now that I've grown up as an author, but it was completed. I could have done all sorts of things with that book, and I chose not to. It is okay to wait until the right time. Everything has to align for you to be successful. In any area of this industry, everything has to align for you to be successful. So with that in mind, you have to do a ton of research on this industry. Picking your next project, picking the project you're working on now, picking the project you're going to pivot to requires research. You need to be able to understand what is selling now, and you need to be able to understand what will sell next season. And that needs to be your priority. Sometimes you can be working on a project and it can be going well, but if it's not going to sell now or next season as you're trying to get it out there, that could be a project that you should just press that pause button on, put it up on a shelf, and do something that's a little bit more marketable. It depends on where you are in your career, how deep you're into your career, how much you're paying attention to how you're able to pay your bills. There's a lot of factors here. So it all boils down to you need to make your own subjective choice. Nobody's going to be able to tell you if you should stop or you should move forward. And if somebody is telling you those things, I would question that. They should be helping you by asking valuable questions and allowing you to make that decision. So valuable questions: am I going to be able to get this book done? Am I in the right space to write this right now? Is this going to sell? Is there a project that is better for me to work on now and come back to this one? Is there someone that can help me? Do I need to be with a developmental editor? Do I need to do all these things as I'm going through the writing process? Do I need a coach? Ask yourself a bunch of questions. And then if that is the path that you need to be taking, you need to take better, more informed steps. You cannot just blindly try to keep going. If you are struggling, you're just going to keep hitting those walls. You have to learn how to do it in a way that is strategic, in a way that is actually going to be written. And sometimes that means having hard conversations with yourself. And again, that could be hard conversations of it's time to shelve this and work on something else, or hard conversations of I need to get professional help to learn how to do this better. Hard conversations of I'm not writing with the correct strategy for me. I need to rip everything I'm doing apart, like the way that you write, and restructure my writing process. You need to fix your mindset. There's a lot of things that you need to do so that you're not constantly going back to edit the same one paragraph that you've been working on for 6 months. You want to make sure that you're having those hard conversations. And then looking at this from a business perspective, we often think that writing is creative. And writing is creative, but it is the very smallest part of it. The vast majority of writing is being practical, is using business sense, is having a strategy, and then being able to use your creativity through those things. So, if you're struggling to write your novel, everybody's been there. Everybody has felt that. Everybody's had a great idea that they've had to shelf. Everybody's had a great idea that they've had to pause and come back to. Everybody has had to put something else before the book that they're writing right now. And you are no different. You will figure out your path, but there may be some bumps along the way. And you have to understand that the writing industry is an industry. You are a business as an author. You are an entrepreneur, and you must think with that business mindset, because if you don't, you will not make the money you want. And even if you are going into this with a creative mindset, if you do not look at this from a business capacity, you will leave money on the table, because you will not be doing things to protect your business, your manuscript, or your brand. Which is why we have so many episodes here on the channel with me, with a lawyer, with other publishing experts to help guide you on this process. So drop your questions down below. Let us know how you're doing with the manuscript you're writing right now. Let us know what you decide to do. And then let us cheerlead you on. We are here to be your community. We're here to be your help and your guidance and to get those questions answered. So now is the time. And we'll see you every single day for daily videos helping you navigate the world of publishing, from your writing to your publishing to your marketing, to make this your most profitable year ever with the least amount of stress, overwhelm, and time commitment on the content you're creating. We'll see you in the upcoming episodes.